Hey, what's up guys, John here. Inside of the last 24 hours, Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, has committed to stepping down from his role. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of the world's largest bank, has committed to stepping down from his role.
JP Morgan Chase's longtime CEO Jamie Dimon sounding like he may finally be ready to put a succession plan in place.
How much longer do you intend to be CEO?
The timetable, it's not 5 years anymore.
And the chair of the FDIC has admitted that he's done. He's stepping down from his role.
If you have the decency, please step down. If not, I would urge the President of the United States to replace you ASAP.
The head of the FDIC, that's the agency that ensures the money you have in the bank, announcing he is set to step down.
Why are all of these wealthy people, these powerful and connected people, all stepping down from their post at the same exact time? Just for context, in 2023, 1,170 CEOs left their post. This is the most on record since 2002, since they began tracking the data. You have all these billionaires stepping down, selling tons of stock. Is something going on here? Well, the more you look into this, the more you realize something very, very big is going on. I would argue Klaus Schwab is the most powerful person in the planet, at least top 100. Think about this. He founded the organization in 1971, over 50 years ago, and he had a vision to have the most powerful, the most connected, the wealthiest people, the biggest corporations, banks, sovereign wealth funds, insurance companies, endowments, everybody together to reshape the world how they saw fit back then. And they've been working on this for decades. Well, when they're all doing something at the same time, it's something we all have to watch. In this video, I'm going to break it down and show you exactly what I learned. Please hit the like button, YouTube will share this content to educate the people about what's going on in our economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in American history, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on a credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com, click the link in the description just below this video, schedule a free call for tomorrow. Take a look at this. So, this is very fascinating. This was on their website. This is about 6 years ago, 2018. See the URL right there. And what they said was that the dollar, and they made a prediction for the dollar back then, saying the US dollar loses its preeminence. Today's centralized global monetary and financial system featuring a dominant US dollar mutates into a world with multiple reserve currencies. Sounds exactly like BRICS. And what's very interesting is BRICS just came out with something called BRICS Pay. And this already has 324,000 views. And they have an aim to completely end the use of the US dollar in interstate trade. So this is a very, very, very big announcement. And so they've been discussing this for the last 6 years publicly on their website, saying that and this is going to impact financial powers of influence. And we're going to be decreasing the use of paper money. And this came out at the height of the last crypto bull run, that owning cryptocurrency may make you more desirable in the dating scene. So my belief is that they love cryptocurrency and they love the idea of people making a lot of money in the short term on meme coins and crypto and all these different digital assets. They love the adoption of this because as people get more and more comfortable with it, it's going to be easier to bring forward a central bank solution. And so this is where we're likely going to be going. Everything is going to be going digital. And I think we're in a perfect position, socially, for this because people are going to start to really adopt the UBI and they're going to really jump on this. Now, how I think this is all going to likely going to go down is going to be very, very, very interesting. So they say traditional bank business models will be challenged. Look at it this way. When you have interest rates go from 3% to 7.5%, you have insurance skyrocketing and property taxes going through the roof. You have a lot of investors to the teeth in debt. And a lot of investors underwater on their commercial properties, especially office buildings, a lot of industrial properties, apartment buildings, things like that. Well, these banks that are holding this predominantly are regional banks. They're holding 80% of this debt. And most of this debt has to get rolled over from now until 2027. And when I say most, I'm talking 10% of all commercial real estate debt has to get rolled over. So, it's substantial. It is substantial. We're talking $2 trillion worth of debt has to get rolled over. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that these banks are going to go to the investor at that time that the bank needs to refinance this loan and say, okay, what is your debt on this property? Well, they already know that answer. What is your new insurance? Well, they don't know that answer. What is the taxes? How much revenue? What are your vacancies? What's the net operating income on this asset? Okay, well, based on this and given the current economic environment, we can no longer give you 70% loan to value terms on this deal. We can give you 40%. So you bring forward 60% or 50%, and they'll negotiate, and they're going to basically put a lot of people in a position to where they're not going to be able to refinance their buildings. Because when interest rates go from 3% to 7.5%, the value diminishes greatly on these assets because the cost to borrow money goes up. And so these buildings don't make as much, considering debt service. And so because of this, a lot of regionals are going to be going down. They're going to be going bust. Not to mention that 1,804 banks took out bank term funding from the BTFP program. They borrowed $161 billion. They have to pay this back in the next 11 months. And so we're going to likely see a lot of these regional banks go down. We're going to see a lot of bigger banks like JPMorgan Chase step forward and acquire a lot of these banks. And they're going to start to make these banks smarter, more digital. They're going to start to close down a lot more of these locations. People are going to start to opt in more for digital solutions. A lot of people are already comfortable with this right now with crypto, with Zelle and PayPal and Venmo. And so as this begins to happen, we're going to start to move forward into this digital world, exactly what they've had envisioned for us. So how this all works is going to be interesting. Now, I think that we're likely going to see a scenario where we are going to see a lot of crackdown on, Bitcoin in the next 5 years, 7 years. I think there's going to be a really, strong couple of years ahead of us, because the last thing that they would like to do probably is to see Bitcoin go to zero or Bitcoin get, completely obliterated, because if that happened, it would just zap the amount of trust that people would have towards a central bank or any type of digital solution. So I think we're going to likely see some probably interesting times for digital assets. But when you look at this, they said the IMF sees the dollar give way to other reserve currencies. In the short term, they're going to put out a lot of this. Paraguay wants to, jail illegal Bitcoin mining for 10 years. You're going to hear a lot about, different regulations in different countries. But I think that it's going to be regulation, but they're going to want, progress. They're going to want to see people really loving central bank and, digital solutions. I think there's going to be a really interesting next couple of years as everything changes. Because in the next 5 years, the next 7 years, they discuss calling certain cities districts. It's really shocking. So here's what they said here. So this was, you're talking 2016. This is 8 years ago. You can see it right in the URL. And what they said here is, what will everything look like? They mentioned walled cities. They said in this scenario, states fail to meet the challenges of providing services to their population, causing more and more people to switch to the private sector providers, at least those who still have the means to do so. Public goods such as clean water and even fresh air become preciously traded commodities. So think about this. The retreat of the government as a guarantor of minimum basic services leaves society increasingly polarized between this is what they're saying right on the website. And I believe that they're not just saying this for the fun of it. I think this is actually where we're going. They say here, in the second scenario, larger shares of wealth accumulate in the South and East. The shifting power to regional hegemons that consolidate spheres of influence, challenging sovereign states a principal unit of global order. Now, it's very interesting when you have Ray Dalio, CEO of Bridgewater Associates in 2014. It was the most successful hedge fund in the world. He wrote a book saying Change the World Order, talking about how the world is going to change and discussing China and talking about everything that's unfolding. Think about what China just did last couple weeks. They sold $53 billion worth of American debt and put it into what? Gold. What did Michael Burry do? Buying gold. What are central banks doing? They're buying gold. They're doing all of this for what reason? Because they know everything is about to change in a very, very, very big way. I believe what we're going to start to see here is so much disruption across everything, across all industries. Our relationships are going to continue to change with, commerce in general. Everything is going to be changing. But I think inside of a lot of change is going to be a lot of opportunity. And I think that the more people look at the world as a very big game, the more likely it is to win it. And the only way you can win a game is to know the rules of the game. And the world is changing faster than the rules. And so every single day, you're starting to hear new rules, new changes. Even, they're talking about Renters' Bill of Rights, to where this is going to impact landlords nationwide. And these regulations are going to be coming. They're talking about environmental upgrades for properties. All these different rules change the game. So if you can follow these rules and you can invest accordingly, and you could really position yourself for it to where you're not going to, basically, as Warren Buffett said, get caught when the tide goes out. You want to make sure you have shorts on. So what do you think about this entire situation? Where do you see all this going? What are the odds that Klaus, Jamie Dimon, the chair of the FDIC, 1,170 CEOs all step down? You have Warren Buffett selling $28 billion in stock. You have in December, you have all these people doing all these things at the same exact time, and nothing happens. They're telling us right now that things are going to happen. So my suggestion is to get prepared for it. If you have consumer credit card debt, now's a perfect time to look into balance transfer offers, find ways to really pay zero interest. You can't get rich paying somebody else 30%. And if you like to fix your credit to position yourself for funding, maybe to invest in distressed real estate, to grow and scale a business, if you can get in the top 5% in the next couple of years, you're going to be able to really have a great, great life. And if not, they're going to be the one to determine what life is going to likely look like. And if you need to fix your credit, we'd love to help you. And my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any issue at all on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free call for tomorrow. Catch you next video.